I want to open this just quickly, but I would like to ask one last question and make it your answer brief. All of you are involved in social activism. In a way, you've sort of answered this, but I'd like to ask, what is the one lesson you'd like people that you have learned about social activism, or one particular difficulty about social activism that you would like to highlight? And I would say for me, it is that however you push on an issue, what happens is the people involved in the activism change. So you may be designed to change some law, you may be protesting, doing activist work to change some policy, or you may be doing work to change this huge thing called racism or white supremacy. And there's a debate about whether any of this is going to change. But what activism does change is the people involved. And there's nothing, in other words, the powers that be can't take that away from you. How you change inside, how the person next to you changes inside, that is permanent. Nobody can take that away. And that is something perfectly within our control. And to remember that, I think, is important.
So what I've learned in my 7 years of activism, community organizing, definitely being conscious of, not giving power to racism and white supremacy, and that is centering myself, centering my community, centering the good things that happens in my family, even though there are struggles around and violence that happen around my queerness, being able to come back and know myself, having the self-knowledge of myself, and being able to share that with my community. And to recognize that, how have I been a puppet or around racial justice or racial equity work that when we get to the root of it, still dictated by white people, and recognizing that exists, but not giving power to that. And I've also learned a lot through the Don't Buy Me Saigon coalition around what does it mean to hold our institutions accountable, because they're so big and they're doing really great work for the community, but at the same time they're doing really messed up stuff. And through that, just having a lot of conversations with the folks in there, that at the end of this, or through this work, it really should be about centering ourselves and uplifting each other.
I think when the stakes feel high, and I often think the stakes feel high, there's a tendency for us to want to be right. We want to do the right thing. We want to be a good ally. We don't want to say the wrong thing. We want to make sure about all of these things before we take a stand. And I think sometimes when we have that mentality, we can also be very righteous, and I'm speaking from personal experience. We can be very righteous. We can believe that there's one way to be an activist, that there is one way to be effective. And I think we have to realize that being an activist, trying to make a change is an ongoing process. We're always learning that we should be fluid and flexible, that there are many different ways to contribute.
I'm an artist, and my job is not to count the number of people whose minds I change. I think art works like the currents under our feet, like the memories that are in the soil on which we walk every day. And I think it's to, I feel like if art creates the soil on which people walk, it's to push through their feet little sensations and memories that they then stay in their bodies, that then dissolves in their blood and asks them and pushes them to ask questions. That's my job, creating the groundswell of asking questions.
Great.